Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. Prime Minister Mark Carney has pledged a more substantive and less performative parliament. Now that his Liberal Party has secured a majority government, the Liberals achieved this majority, reaching 174 seats through 3 by-election victories on Monday, April 13, 2026, in Terrebonne, Scarborough Southwest, and University Rosedale, as well as 5 defections from other parties since November. Carney emphasized the government's openness to ideas and a collaborative approach, while defending the practice of floor crossing as a reflection of MPs voting their conscience in supporting programs beneficial to their constituents and the country. However, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre strongly criticized Carney, accusing him of manufacturing a majority that Canadians rejected in the last election through dirty backroom deals. Carney, with a laugh, reacted to Poilievre's recent comment that he was very badly educated on economics. With the new majority, the Liberals will have greater control over House of Commons proceedings, including passing confidence votes and speeding up legislation. The Bloc Québécois, having lost a stronghold, committed to responsible cooperation. The next federal election is due by spring 2029. This report is from the Canadian Press. From City News Everywhere, Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne announced today that the federal Liberals will table their spring economic update on April 28th. This update is expected to provide a comprehensive look at Canada's current fiscal position and assess the impact of global shocks, such as the ongoing war in Iran, on the government's economic forecasts. The previous 2025 budget projected a federal deficit of $78.3 billion for the last fiscal year. Prime Minister Mark Carney has outlined plans to reduce day-to-day government expenses while simultaneously increasing investments in defense, infrastructure, and housing construction, aiming to decrease Canada's reliance on the United States. The upcoming economic statement will also incorporate recent commitments, including an enhanced GST benefit and a temporary waiver of the federal fuel excise tax until Labor Day. CTV News reports that British Columbia has tabled implementation legislation for the omoksFirstNation, marking a significant step toward a fully ratified treaty after 3 decades of negotiations. The proposed treaty would establish omoksFirstNation's ownership of approximately 3,442 hectares of land across Vancouver Island, with an option to purchase an additional 1,592 hectares from the province. Crucially, it replaces the Indian Act's band administration with a government authority for all omoks members, granting the First Nation of about 350 individuals the power to enact laws concerning taxation, child protective services, and the administration of justice. Furthermore, it outlines a process for co-developing shared decision-making agreements on wildlife, parks, fish, and water stewardship, and includes plans for 2 public tribal parks. omoksFirstNation members ratified the treaty in March 2025, with federal ratification still required for it to become legally binding, potentially by 2028. Chief Count Nicole Rempel expressed hope that this moment allows the nation to fully realize its potential. Global News reports that Canada's Artificial Intelligence Minister, Evan Solomon, has expressed his support for Anthropic's decision to keep its advanced AI chatbot, Mythos, from public release. Solomon met with company representatives on Tuesday and stated that their approach of working with defenders first is a responsible path. Anthropic had previously announced that Mythos was substantially beyond those of any model we have previously trained and posed significant cybersecurity dangers. The company's concerns include potential misuse leading to ransomware attacks, particularly targeting critical infrastructure and large corporations. A January 2026 federal report by the Canadian Centre for Cybersecurity highlighted the growing susceptibility of Canadian organizations and individuals to such threats. Solomon emphasized the government's seriousness in protecting its systems, critical infrastructure, and Canadians' data, reinforcing the importance of Anthropic's cautious development strategy. The Canadian press reports that the Canada Border Services Agency, CBSA, has initiated an investigation to determine if plywood imported from China is being subsidized or sold at unfairly low prices in the Canadian market. This probe, which commenced on April 10th, specifically targets producers and exporters operating from China. The agency stated that such practices, often referred to as dumping, can severely harm Canadian industries by leading to price undercutting and undermining fair competition. The investigation was prompted by a complaint filed by Columbia Forest Products and the Canadian Hardwood, Plywood, and Veneer Association, both of which reported experiencing significant sales losses, adverse financial outcomes, and reduced employment due to these alleged unfair trade practices. Both the CBSA and the Canadian International Trade Tribunal are actively involved in examining the situation, while the tribunal is scheduled to issue its decision by June 9th. The CBSA expects to reach a preliminary decision regarding the unfair pricing by July 9th. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.